This is where Aintree begins, and already there's a race full of hype, expectation, and a few horses with something to prove. But when you look closer, the story of this race isn't as simple as it seems. The anniversary 4-year-old hurdle is always one of the most interesting races of the week. It's where young horses' reputations are tested, Cheltenham form gets questioned, and sometimes a completely new star emerges. This year feels no different. On the surface, it looks like a race with a clear pecking order. The Triumph hurdles 2nd, 3rd and 4th all do battle once again. The well-fancied 2nd in the Fred Winter looks to compete at graded company. And there's also an early-season Triumph fancy who has snuck under the radar and been earmarked for this particular task. This could really get interesting. Let's start with the horse everyone is focusing on. The current favourite and the one coming in with the hype, Selma de Very. This is the horse people expect to confirm themselves at the top level, off the back of a 4th-place finish at Cheltenham, in which she met some trouble in running. She settled better and could be set to improve once again. And on class alone, it's easy to see why. The form is solid, although she will need to overturn her 2 closest rivals. The profile fits, and in a race like this, that's usually enough to make them the one to beat, at least on paper. Another help for her could be the simple fact: Aintree isn't Cheltenham. This track rides differently. The race unfolds differently. And we've seen it so many times before. Horses that lose at Cheltenham suddenly look incredible here. Whether it's the fitness from a quick turnaround, the flatter track, or just the nature of the race, things can change very quickly. And that's where this gets interesting. Because there are 2 horses in here who don't have the same level of hype, even though they've already beaten the favourite. But their story coming into this race might actually suit Aintree more than Cheltenham. Maestro Conti and Manella Study found themselves 2nd and 3rd respectively, and they were only beaten narrowly enough by a French recruit for Willie Mullins on his stable debut. For other contenders, maybe they skipped Cheltenham altogether. Most notably of those following this angle is Mange 2 for Gordon Elliott, a half-sister to the classy Impair et Pass who appears on the same card in the bowl. She holds a win over the early antepost favourite for the Triumph in Narciso Has, who sadly picked up an injury post-festival. Many felt that was due to fitness, but in doing so, she cemented her own reputation. Stable form has taken a knock, but she isn't to be ignored. For another contender, maybe they've been quietly building towards this all season long. Winston Jr. was a popular pick to win the Fred Winter at Cheltenham, but unfortunately for him and connections, he could only manage 2nd. But with solid form like that, can he improve again up in grade? These are the types of horses that often get overlooked until it's too late. So the question becomes this: is this a race where the standout horse simply confirms what we already think? Or is this one of those Aintree races where the story flips completely and something less obvious comes to the front? For me, this isn't as straightforward as it might look at first glance. There's clearly horses with the strongest form, but there are just enough unknowns, track, timing, race shape, to make this far more competitive than the market suggests. And in races like this, it's often the horse with the right setup on the day, not just the best reputation, that comes out on top. If you're following the Grand National meeting this week, I've put together a full playlist breaking down the stories behind the key races and contenders. It should be on your screen now, and if you enjoy this kind of racing content, not just tips, but the stories behind the races, make sure you're subscribed because there's a lot more coming over the next few days.